Please support the many artists who are part of the Deltarune Cafe, link to a list of them in the description, and please do not harass anyone involved in this event. On June 26, 2026, niche fandom event/convention organizers Sugar Packet, who specialize in arranging meetups in the GTA, the Greater Toronto area, released a fan event interest forum 2 days after the release of Deltarune Chapter 5 to gauge how likely an event like this could occur. 3 days later, they announced an interest forum for artists where they can sell their merch or Sugar Packet can sell their merch for them on location for the Deltarune event they're planning. Sugar Packet announces the theme for this Deltarune event, kimonos and cafes. They also show off these acrylic standees you can pre-order. It's announced, quote, "Through the power of flowers, your father and I bringing you a kimono cafe experience like never before, like a maid cafe but more chapter 5 appropriate. This is an event of atmosphere, sick soul service, and food and drink straight from Green's kitchen. The hope of our 5 excellent servers should be enough for such predictable creatures as yourself, but let me tell you what else we have in store." The other things they have in store is an artist alley, immersive interactions with servers, a photo booth, a raffle, and more. This whole cafe service will cost $15 for a 50-minute reservation, and it'll happen on August 9th from 12 to 7 p.m. But in another area, there's a free Deltarune hangout space with an artist alley display/shop, a live playthrough of Deltarune Chapter 5, and mysterious wins. I love the subtle foreshadowing. Okay, so 5 servers. You have 5 servers for an event that encourages immersive interactions with servers. That's less than the number of flowers there are in Chapter 5, which is worrying, especially for an event that'll last 7 whole hours. And how this post ended was probably the greatest indicator of how it would end up going. The hangout space and the cafe will have their own separate rooms in a building for the University of Toronto, meaning the venue for this event won't be at a restaurant or cafe with a kitchen, it'll be at 2 college rooms with the kitchen as a canteen. Can't wait to go. The merch catalog for the cafe is released, and there is a lot of it. There's also 3 options to buy the merch: by pre-ordering with the Square app and just getting the merch under your name in the hangout room, buying merch in the cafe room alongside your food, and buying merch at the artist alley shop in the hangout room through this code system. They also release a menu for the food that'll be served in the cafe, including takoyaki, which is pictured here with a screenshot of normal NPC and various flower drinks. Cute. So that's pretty much all the setup for this event. It seems pretty shaky, and there's a lot of ways it can go wrong, but I'm sure it will go fine, right? The Deltarune Cafe was a failure. Okay, so before I get to this, let me read off this entire Instagram post because I think everyone who's heard of the situation hasn't read what Super Packet themselves had to say. Not saying I'm defending them, it's definitely worth criticizing how incompetent this event was, especially if it sends some people to the hospital, but I just think it's interesting to read out what they have to say. Perspective, you know? It's kinda like watching Nixon's resignation speech. They know they f***ed up. The Deltarune Cafe was a failure. It was a failure where some people had a good time with some amazing attendees and incredible volunteers, but it did fail. We'd be remiss if we were to deny that in any way. This announcement is here to explain how and why things failed, what changes we plan on making to Sugar Packet to keep failures like this from happening again, and all of the methods we have to redress everyone's complaints. To start, all tickets are freely available for refund. Any attendee who feels as though they did not get the experience they paid for, whether that was because of the last-minute pushing back of the reservations for the missing menu items or the service received, attendees can fill out the form below and enter their name, order number, as well as why they would like a refund. This final question is entirely optional, just so that we can gather more feedback. Refunds will be granted regardless of the reason. In the cafe, there was also a specific issue with the Fanta item, the pricing of which ended up being changed because of a change in what we were serving. This was not communicated to attendees or servers, leading to confusion and people paying more than what they expected. $7 refunds have already been sent to everyone who purchased Fanta using card. This was the most notable instance of other complaints about overcharges and double payments. If this ever happened to you, please fill out the form below with your order number, what you were charged too much for, and your e-transfer if you paid in cash. As for the artist alley and hangout room, besides issues of overcrowding and poor crowd control, which is nothing to ignore, there were many issues with our pre-order system and the general purchasing experience. Our systems for merch ordering did not include organizing the AA booth in such a way where artists would be easily and quickly accessible, and this led to an already long line being painfully slow, as well as inaccuracies with orders/prices. For anyone who made any kind of purchase with which they had some sort of issue, please fill out the refund form above with your order number and a description of what was wrong with your order, both for pre-orders and for purchases made on the spot. As for pre-orders that were not picked up, we are offering compensatory free delivery for all outstanding pre-orders. Again, you can fill out the form linked above that and provide us with your shipping information in the associated optional section. All of this is just a fraction of the stuff that went wrong. There will be further announcements and FAQs responding to specific concerns and pieces of feedback. We are also putting up a formal complaints and feedback form. While we address everything, we want to put these forms out there so people have some method of redressing address. Refunds will start coming out tomorrow. If we ever do another fan event again, it won't be for some time, and not without more logistical planning and time beforehand. We can't ever do enough to undo all of the ways we failed as organizers for this event, but we'll do all we can. But know that is with us the issues all came from. However volunteers may have behaved or whatever mistakes they may have made from time to time only comes back to us and how we informed, trained, and prepared them for the event. Without them and our incredible servers, this disaster would be 10 times more of one, and we are eternally grateful to them. This isn't the final word on this event and how we're going to make up for it after the fact, but it's the first real step we wanted to take. We hope it means something. So yeah, everything went wrong. So what was the issue with the Deltarune Cafe? At least from what I've given so far in the video, from the perspective of Sugar Packet. Well, I just read them all out, so there's no point in re-summarizing. It was poorly and incompetently run. It was in a college instead of a venue, and you didn't anticipate Deltarune fans being Deltarune fans. Like, they aren't even that bad. I know a lot of people like to say they are, but on the fandom reputation spectrum, they are at the very worst middling in behavior. Like, they'll behave if you have a good event. They're genuinely not that bad in comparison to other fandoms, so ending up like this is just pure incompetence on the part of Sugar Packet. Yes, they admitted responsibility, and I genuinely believe they are trying their best to resolve any issues, but you gotta admit, getting everything that could have gone wrong go wrong is impressive. There's a reason this is being cited as the DashCon for Deltarune fans. I like the saying DashCon Deltarune, but I think Dashtarune is also a pretty good nickname for what happened here. So we got the perspective of the organizers, but how about the people who went there? Did they have a more positive perspective on things? I first heard about this event through this tweet, and I pretty much agree with most of the opinions here. It was unprofessional, disastrous, and dangerous. This fucking food picture, bro. Holy. I don't think Green would have been serving any of this shit, bro. You know, it actually makes sense they said it's a 6-soul service, because all the souls from Undertale were, you know, children. This looks like something a child would make. Like, the way this was described sounds like it's a fancy cafe experience, but having this served on paper plates and the drinks being served like this, I've genuinely seen better eating experiences in like jazz band practice meetups where we would buy from this Italian catering place and eat with silverware and plates, bro, not any of this canteen cafeteria bullshit. I feel I'm being a bit harsh here, but the way this was advertised as a cafe experience when the actual food is that. And another reason I'm being a bit harsh here is because people were food poisoned and had to be rushed to the hospital, bro. The takoyaki was straight up made by normal NPC. He poisoned them. I'm gonna refer to this doc by Cass, which I found through this tweet. I'll leave this in the description if you want to read all of it. I'm just gonna go through the highlights. So according to this doc, which was provided by anonymous attendees, vendors, and volunteers and compiled by Cass, in the cafe and food issues section, there were general concerns if anyone had any actual training on how to cook. The kitchen had no supervision and servers were overwhelmed due to the poor organization. Being advertised as a pseudo-maid cafe with a Deltarune Chapter 5 theme, there was a lot of concern for security, aka if there was any security at all in the event. And the store-bought food, charged at higher prices than what was advertised, was not chilled at all throughout the event. Some claims said that it was all previously frozen and cooked with either an air fryer or griddle. Some claims say food bags were left in warm areas. Yeah, you don't do that when you're serving seafood. So yeah, the food made people incredibly sick and there was a lot of food poisoning reports. Let's read Sugar Packet's response to that. Deltarune Fan Cafe announcement regarding food poisoning. That's gotta be a new sentence. We have received multiple reports of foodborne illnesses after the event, in particular from the takoyaki. For a full explanation you might be able to give to your practitioner to narrow down the issue, here is how the takoyaki was stored. The takoyaki was stored in an icebox to thaw and then served afterwards. They had only left the freezer that morning for the first batch and that afternoon around 4 PM for the second. Bags were removed from the cooler only when they were being made and swapped between shifts. The frozen takoyakis that were bought were already fully cooked before being frozen. Our research said that thawing them in a fridge and serving within 24 hours afterwards was safe, but we apologize, that is not the standard you all were looking for. We will fully compensate any bills associated with any possible foodborne symptoms through the cafe refund form, which is linked in our bio. For anyone unaware on how to report food safety concerns / violations, it's through this Toronto public health form. You can also put your information into a form linked in our Discord server's announcements to report as a group. We take full responsibility for whatever legal challenges might come our way and deeply apologize that our negligence led to sickness. Thank you. Here are a few tweets I found showcasing what the food generally looked like and someone just straight up saying they got food poisoned. You think the Deltarune fans who ate the normal NPC cooked takoyaki turned green like Toby Fox in that one livestream once they arrived to urgent care? Cause Jesus Christ. Let's look at the artists and the general organization of the event. Again, I'm gonna be using this doc from Cass. So apparently the whole event was delayed by 3 hours and closed at 6 p.m. Now that's probably good because that means less people got poisoned, but that wasn't very good for the independent artists trying to get their name out there and their merch sold. They were promised a full 7 hours of exposure / buying period for the merch they gave, but instead got 3. The ability to order merch from the cafe was cancelled because of course it was. I already thought that was strange and impractical. There's a reason why Temmie stand and normal NPC stand during the festival are far away from each other, okay? Everything was set up the day of, which was probably why the 3-hour delay at the start happened, and that coding system was just not present at all. They just laid the merch out there without any signage for their codes, meaning anyone could just steal them. They switched up the order system too, leading to confusion and lines that would last over 2 hours until you were told, sorry, we're shutting down now. And the pre-orders, the easiest thing to not mess up, was also messed up. The pre-orders weren't packaged beforehand, so the merch stock was just in piles in the corner, meaning staff had to just arrange things again the day of, and the pre-orders had missing items that attendees and proxies had to catch on the spot. Every possible way to buy the merch from these artists was just botched and butchered. It's like all the budget went into advertising how cool the event could be when they could have at least spent like a couple hours just managing the pre-orders a few days before. Let's talk about how the event was organized, except we really don't have to because all the organization can be summarized with this one point in this section of the doc. Staff screamed so loud that it caused others to feel unsafe and panic. And the subpoint, some non-attendees had to mediate the situation by providing comfort to those who were affected. Jesus Christ. Of course, the whole thing was overcrowded. It took place in 2 college rooms. That's just not where you hold fan events. You're advertising as a pretty big deal, and there's a lot of scummy stuff in this doc relating to profit, like making money off the photo booth made by different event organizers. The organizers of Despite Everything Toronto specifically, another Deltarune fan event, and servers not getting breaks and making $65 for each bag of poisonous takoyaki, and people getting charged various different amount for things like they were in Spamton's shop. Bro, how did this genuinely happen? So the 2 posts by Sugar Packet after the event occurred, the one announcing its failure and the one about food poisoning, blew up pretty much everywhere, but one post kind of flew under the radar that I want to read out. A few updates on how we're adjusting things. All tickets purchased on Eventbrite have been refunded. If you have any continuing issues with refunds, please fill out the form linked in our previous post so we can address your case individually, but they should have gone through for all attendees. Secondly, an update on pre-orders. While initially we had hoped to still ship out the outstanding pre-orders, the amount that are yet to be done as well as the needs of the artists to have their remaining merch returned means we have no choice but to cancel and refunding all pre-orders which were not fulfilled. This is a corner we were backed into by nothing but our own negligence, overconfidence, and disorganization, and we were deeply apologetic both to artists excited to make sales before the event and attendees excited for what they ordered. If you have gotten your pre-order but are missing things from it, once again, please fill out the form. If you do not receive the refund for your pre-order within 2 weeks, once again, fill out the form. We apologize for any delays in refunds. However, we can only send out as many refunds as our e-transfer limits per day allow, and so we once again ask you to be patient. We are also automatically refunding all orders of takoyaki which were made by card, although we cannot do automatic refunds for anyone who paid with Google/Apple Pay or cash. This is another case where we ask people to fill out the refund form. Thank you for your patience and feedback. One thing that has become very clear is that the way in which we approach and run Sugar Packet, the scale and complexity of our events, does not suit the way we organize them. To introspect and consider if we even still want to do this and how we will change things if we decide to do so, Sugar Packet is officially going on hiatus for 10 months. We will keep the Discord server open so people who made friends here can continue talking to them, and will continue to respond to refund requests through the forum, but otherwise we are ceasing operations. Thank you for giving our 2 events their chances. We apologize for wasting them. If you're looking for another UTDR hangout opportunity, please check out at DespiteEverything.Toronto. They ran the photo booth in the cafe and have an exciting event in October that is sure to be much more organized and better than this one, not affiliated with Sugar Packet. And the post ends with Sugar Packet's own mascot, Snowgrave, bro. They Snowgrave their own mascot. Update: while I'm doing the voiceover this video, a new post released. Deltarune Fan Cafe announcement regarding harassment. All the disorganization and negligence that resulted in the outcome of the Deltarune Fan Cafe is solely the responsibility of Zane and Esther, the 2 organizers of the event. Please do not harass or send hate to any of the volunteers, artists, and everyone else involved, as they had no part in any of this disaster. please. And that's that. I really want to believe that the whole event by Sugar Packet was genuinely done out of extreme incompetence instead of any actual ill will. Still, that incompetence doesn't really forgive how much things really went wrong. When I first started reading about this situation, it seemed the DashCon comparisons were a bit extreme, but upon researching everything I could find, this whole event kinda seems like a small-scale Deltarune DashCon, which might make it worse. Again, people were screaming at the event. I could not imagine how badly and stressful things might have gone for the artists, the staff, the volunteers, and the attendees that were all there hoping to have a fun moment and ended up genuinely having part of their love for UTDR kinda strained a bit because of this event. Like, yeah, the situation sucks and people were sent to the hospital. The whole situation is so bizarre and sad. Of course the jokes are gonna be inevitable. I mean, even the people who were there and food poisoned are making jokes about it. I've made jokes about it in this video, but again, I urge you to support the artists who didn't get what they were promised, to acknowledge the staff and volunteers that were absolutely exploited through this whole event, and hold the organizers accountable and fill up those refund/response forms. But still, remember, everyone in this situation is human. Again, I've left a link in the description of a list by Jazzy MS of the artists you should go out and support. This has been Elliot Online, and make sure to stay safe in the greater Toronto area. I mean, the place is called GTA. We should have seen the danger from this event coming.